Informative speech, speech online, Ashley Lane. Picture yourself in a movie theater. You've come to see your favorite superhero and his latest movie. The lights go down and the movie begins. But there's no sound. You can see a superhero exchanging dialogue with other people in the movie. You see things blowing up, but you can't hear them. This is exactly what seeing a movie in the theater would have been like for a person in the 1920s. Now, movies began, really, in the 1890s. The first film ever made was called Annabelle and was filmed in 1894. And Thomas Edison was a big part of making this movie, and he also invented the light bulb and the phonograph, along with many other things. Now, this movie, Annabelle, was only about 30 seconds long and featured a woman dancing in a flowy dress. As more time passed, people really got on the bandwagon of making movies, but they were still secondary to the stage. In that case, actors and actresses were embarrassed to be in films, which we can't really understand today because it seems like everyone is trying to get on movies or TV or YouTube even. But they were embarrassed and would hide the fact that they were part of a silent film because the stage was a better medium. They would just do a silent film to make some extra cash in the summer. But more time passed, and silent films became more popular. And there were two characteristics of silent films that can even be seen when we watch them today. The first is overacting. If you watched a comedy or a drama, any emotion that was going to be portrayed would be shown through exaggerated facial expressions or exaggerated physical actions. Another characteristic of silent films, when you saw them in the theater, was that they weren't really all silent. When you would go to the theater, there would be a full orchestra to accompany the film that you were going to see. Now, as more time passed, the transition into sound was a big issue. Now, you would think that most people in the film industry would say, oh, sound is going to be introduced. This is really important because, as we talked about in the beginning, it feels like there's something missing from a movie when there's no sound. But some people in the industry didn't want to have sound. One reason was stated by a particular gentleman from the silent film era in the PBS documentary Hollywood, A Celebration of the Silent Film. He said that he felt as though they created an international language that could have been understood by all people effortlessly. And he felt as though with the introduction of sound, they were just blowing it up. But other people in the silent film industry wanted to introduce sound for two reasons. Now, if you're looking at any industry, they are competing with other companies in order to get your money, get your business. So, if they were going to introduce sound, that's what other studios were doing, and that's what audiences wanted to see. So if a particular studio wanted to compete with another studio, they had to introduce sound. And something else that you see in many industries is that they're always looking for new innovations. And sound was exactly that. It was a new innovation, and people in studios, especially studio heads, wanted to explore this new medium. And so the transition into sound began in the late 1920s. But it wasn't as easy as some may think. In the 1952 film Singing in the Rain, the main plotline follows a movie studio in the transition from silent movies to talkies, as they were so referred to in that time. And two problems that they ran into, there were probably more, but at least two that are seen in this film, are microphones and voice. Now, microphones in that day were huge. They were probably about this big or even bigger. They were really hard to hide if you were going to record a film. And so those in the industry had to realize a way to get the dialogue recorded without taking away from the dramatic or humorous effect of the film. Another problem that they ran into was the fact that most silent movie actors didn't have the voice to transfer into film, and most silent movie stars didn't make it into the talkie era, as it's so called. But needless to say, that was also a transition period, and it served as a foundation for our movies today, and our movies today have sound. Each of these films had their own unique perspective and served their own purpose in building up to what films are today. And every single era of movie making has one common characteristic. Movies are made to show a certain person's perspective. They're made to make people think, to make them laugh, or to take them away from their troubles for a while. Now, the next time you watch a movie, whether it be in your living room, the theater, or on your laptop, remember the history of movies and remember the foundation they laid. And enjoy your film and enjoy the hard work that it took to get there. Thank you for listening.